in the hospital. So the majority of 5 Feet Apart takes place in a hospital, and it takes place over a short period of time because our heroine...
Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday, March 27th, 2026. Here's everything you need to know for your rush hour commute. It's a big day for Justin Baldoni, as a judge has handed him several wins in his ongoing legal battle with Blake Lively, giving his side strong momentum moving forward. I'll break down exactly what happened, including a statement from attorney Brian Friedman. We'll also get into the viral love trap phenomenon, which continues to gain massive attention. Speaking of that, love trap. Owens vs. Erd is now ranked 11th in the country on Apple Podcasts, not just in its category, but overall, right alongside major shows like Call Her Daddy and The Joe Rogan Experience. As someone involved in the podcast, I'm thrilled to share that we just had our highest downloaded episode ever, fueled by the buzz around the pregnancy scandal we helped uncover. There's even talk of it becoming a Netflix documentary, and the series has been expanded from 8 to 12 episodes due to overwhelming interest. Huge congratulations to Stephanie Young and the team at Glass Entertainment for creating such a hit, with plenty more drama still to come. If you missed my recent live shows, you can catch my stand-up on Patreon for $5 a month, including a set from Stamford, Connecticut, where I dive into some of these ongoing court cases and interact with the audience. It's a lot of fun. Now, back to the major legal update. A judge has allowed Justin Baldoni's defamation lawsuit against his former publicist, Stephanie Jones, to move forward. This is significant because from the start, there have been suspicions that Jones may be central to the controversy, particularly regarding how private text messages were obtained and allegedly shared with Blake Lively. There are claims that a questionable subpoena process may have been used to access and distribute that information, raising serious concerns. According to court documents obtained by TMZ, the judge ruled that Baldoni's production company presented enough evidence for its defamation claims to proceed. The company alleges that Jones made false statements to individuals, including Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and publicist Leslie Sloan, accusing the company of retaliatory behavior and orchestrating a smear campaign. Baldoni's team maintains these claims are untrue and harmful, and the court has now agreed there's sufficient basis to continue the case. This marks a notable win for Baldoni as the broader legal battle unfolds. A representative for Wayfarer told TMZ they're pleased with the court's decision, and attorney Brian Friedman echoed that sentiment, stating that the judge not only denied Stephanie Jones' attempt to dismiss the lawsuit, but also allowed the claims of bad faith conduct and defamation to move forward. This means the case will continue, potentially becoming costly for Jones, as Wayfarer alleges she knowingly made false and damaging statements despite being aware emails and messages she was copied on that the company was not engaging in any smear campaign or retaliatory behavior. The court also noted that none of the arguments presented by Jones' side successfully proved that Wayfarer had conducted such a campaign, reinforcing what Baldoni's team sees as another significant win. At the same time, the broader legal battle is intensifying, with Justin Baldoni and his co-defendants accusing Blake Lively's legal team of overwhelming them with an enormous document dump just weeks before trial. A judge has granted Baldoni's request to extend pretrial deadlines and scheduled an April 2nd status conference, as both sides prepare for a trial currently set for May 18th, according to filings. Lively's team submitted nearly 1,000 potential exhibits and identified more than 40 possible witnesses, an amount Baldoni's attorneys argue is excessive and impractical, suggesting it may be an attempt to complicate or slow down trial preparation. They've requested additional time to review the material and finalize key elements, like jury instructions, which already span about 85 pages and address 13 different claims and defenses. Baldoni's team also argues that it's too early to finalize certain trial details, especially since major motions like his request to dismiss parts of the case are still pending. The judge's eventual ruling on those motions could significantly shape the outcome, including the possibility of dismissing some or all of Blake Lively's claims. There's growing speculation about how the judge may rule, with some believing portions of Lively's case could be thrown out, which would mark an early victory for Baldoni. Others suggest that, strategically, an early dismissal might even benefit Lively by allowing her to avoid a full trial, while framing the outcome in her favor publicly. For now, the case remains highly unpredictable, but the recent rulings clearly signal momentum on Baldoni's side as the legal fight continues. The reality is, this ruling probably isn't going to change anyone's opinion, and that's the tricky part with cases like this. People tend to pick a side early based on whatever version of the story they hear first, so if someone initially followed Blake Lively's perspective, they might already see Justin Baldoni in a negative light, and the same goes the other way around. Still, it's ultimately a good thing that the situation is playing out in court rather than just in the court of public opinion. At this stage, it doesn't seem likely to settle, even though many initially predicted a near certain settlement. That prediction didn't really account for the Hollywood ego factor, where high-profile figures are willing to spend huge amounts of money to fight things out publicly. In Baldoni's case, it's argued he didn't have much choice given the professional fallout he faced. Shifting gears, there are plenty of other headlines making waves. One major story involves plans for former President Donald Trump's signature to appear on future U.S. currency, a move being framed as symbolic recognition of his leadership. At the same time, there are growing concerns about the economy, particularly with rising fuel costs and geopolitical tensions affecting global oil supply routes, which could lead to higher gas prices and broader inflation. These economic pressures are already being felt, with increased transportation costs impacting everyday goods and services. Trump has also faced criticism over comments about mail-in voting, highlighting perceived inconsistencies between his personal actions and public stance. Meanwhile, political dynamics in the U.S. continue to shift, with some voters expressing frustration with both major parties and looking for candidates they view as more authentic and less influenced by powerful interests. Figures like Texas politician James Tillarico are gaining attention for their messaging, which resonates with voters seeking change and a stronger focus on middle-class issues. At the same time, concerns are growing over escalating international tensions, particularly involving Iran, with fears that the situation could develop into a larger conflict. Rising fuel prices and economic strain are seen as immediate consequences, while the human cost of potential military escalation weighs heavily on many. There's a sense of uncertainty about how these developments will unfold, with hopes that worst-case scenarios can still be avoided. Amid all of this, other domestic issues continue to surface, including controversial immigration-related incidents that raise ethical and legal questions. Altogether, it's a moment filled with intense legal battles, political shifts, and global uncertainty, with each story adding to a rapidly evolving and often unpredictable landscape. A shocking incident out of Cambridge, Maryland has people talking after reports that a homeowner called ICE on 6 Guatemalan workers she had hired for a remodeling job. According to reports, the call may have happened right before the work was completed, raising serious questions about whether it was done to avoid paying them for their labor. A coworker even live-streamed the arrests, showing just how intense and unsettling the situation was in real time. And people who witnessed it say experiencing something like that firsthand hits very differently than just watching clips online. This situation also fuels a bigger debate about immigration enforcement. There's been a long-standing claim that efforts are focused mainly on serious criminals, but cases like this leave people questioning that narrative, especially when people doing everyday jobs are the ones being detained. Incidents involving laborers and routine workers have increasingly become part of the conversation, adding to concerns about how enforcement is actually being carried out. At the same time, the broader political climate continues to feel tense and deeply divided. Many people have already formed strong opinions, and stories like this often reinforce what they already believe, rather than changing minds. Some see it as an example of systems being misused, while others defend enforcement actions as part of broader policy. That divide makes it harder for situations like this to lead to consensus or understanding. Beyond immigration, there are also growing concerns about economic pressure and global instability. Rising fuel costs, geopolitical tensions, and supply chain issues are all contributing to uncertainty about where things are headed. When oil routes are disrupted, it affects everything from gas prices to the cost of everyday goods, putting more strain on ordinary people. Political debates are also intensifying, with criticism aimed at leadership decisions, policy inconsistencies, and the influence of wealth and power. Some voters are expressing frustration with both major parties and are increasingly looking for leaders they feel genuinely represent everyday people rather than powerful interests. That search for authenticity is becoming a major theme in today's political landscape. At the same time, concerns about international conflict continue to grow, with fears that escalating tensions could lead to wider consequences. Even without worst-case scenarios, the economic impact alone is already being felt, and many people are worried about what comes next. Altogether, it's a moment where legal issues, political divisions, economic stress, and global uncertainty are all colliding. Stories like the one in Maryland don't just stand on their own, they connect to much bigger questions about fairness, policy, and the direction things are heading.